hard.
These globals by Faith are just awesome. The last two were just incredible.
Yeah, I mean, especially that one bottom where Dendi comes in with that friggin' haste rune.
Oh, yeah.
Is about to orb out, and then at the last possible second, the global is there.
He had haste, too.
That takes balls, because if you're just a split second off, Dendi gets away, and you have no global for 3 minutes. Faith has really been on the mark.
Woof. And YYF continues split push top. Kuroki, he's actually very close to the Sheepstick. I thought that Dendi would be, he'd pretty much be on par with Dendi's farm, but he's actually quite a bit more farm than Dendi. Dendi only having treads and blink right now. Kiro having 4 staff, phase boots, and ultimate orb, as well as 2,300 in his inventory. Roshan, not a hot point of contest in this game, though.
Guys, by the way, for those watching on the live stream, do apologize. We had a bit of a power surge here, but it seems like we're back online. We do apologize for that, but hopefully you didn't miss too much action. You missed a kill here or there. No major objectives claimed, no Roshan or anything like that. Global was just used. IG, no Panda ult, no Global. They'll have to wait for their next big clash. If you hear my voice but you don't see the stream, refresh it. If all else fails, reload the page, try a different browser, but hopefully everything should be A-okay. With that being said, Na'Vi, they'll march into this Roshan pit. They're close to an Ags on Funnick. It's not there yet. He has died an awful lot this game. 2, 4, and 6 after that brilliant start in the laning stage. And IG, Sanjin Yasha up on Zhou. He'll work towards the Basher, and it's coming soon. This Lifestealer is getting to that point where he's pretty damn scary.
Wow, are they going to give a Roshan for free?
Kuroki, no focus fire. Level 13 doesn't have a single point in it. It would really help them take it, but IG don't technically have vision of this, and they're just not going to contest.
Wow, this is going to be huge for them. As soon as this is over, Funnick will have his Scepter, and he'll have an Aegis as well. That is going to be extremely difficult for them to take down twice. But again, he has no BKB, so they can just go the other route and just kind of ignore him if they can get the primal split off on Ferrari. If he can just constantly throw them up in there with Cyclone and hurl some boulders at him, he is going to be completely useless, Aegis or not.
It's been a bit of a roller coaster so far. It started off with IG accumulating a slow, or Na'Vi a slow but steady advantage, but IG, they've bounced back, and it's now gone their way. The scales start to tip again. You could see a bit of a dip after that Roshan, favoring Na'Vi. In terms of experience, a big lead for Invictus Gaming. Your International 2 defending champions are in tip-top fighting shape thus far in Game 1. They'll have to continue to press forward, though. They have not won this game yet, but it's just this brilliant Lifestealer performance combined with Faith, fantastic globals. IG, a well-rounded 5-man squad for them. Na'Vi, a bit of misfires here and there. Not out of it yet, but they'll have to polish things up as IG go for a big smoke and try to find an engagement.
Puppy trying to scout out a little bit, but they do have Sentry Wars quite a... let's check out top. They laid down a Sentry, and they're smoking on their way. They're waiting for someone to push out top lane, and if they don't, they might just sweep that T3 tower.
5 heroes charging in. They're very confident they can take this fight, and who wouldn't be? With Global, with the Panda Silence, and with just not enough burst to reliably bring 430 down. I mean, the beautiful thing about Panda Silencer is if you go on the Panda and you don't catch the Silencer in the Puck Silence, he just globals, and then you're not killing 430 before it wears off. If you go on the Silencer, Panda ults, and the fight turns around, you've got to catch both perfectly, probably not just with the Puck Silence coil, but also with the Light Strike Array and an Impale, or there's just no way Na'Vi can prevent the Panda ult and the global from going off, and then there's probably no way they can take a 5v5 clash. So IG, when the ults are up, incredibly hard to deal with. When they're down, they still seem to be pretty decent.
Viper actually did not finish his BKB. He had Point Booster as well as the Ogre Club in 2,000 gold. I thought for sure he was going for it, but instead he goes for BKB, which is a pretty
didn't finish his
choice.
Ags, yeah.
Right. Oh, yeah. Right.
It's been a long day, guys. But, yeah, BKB in this game... Is it worth it going for it this late? 30 minutes in?
I think it's pretty good just because of the constant harassment from Panda that he's going to receive. And he almost is certainly going to get off his primal split. I mean, Na'Vi had a pretty flawless coordination a couple of times that they killed Ferrari, but in the most recent team fights, he's been able to get off primal split, and they're just all forced to turn tail and run. If they can actually man through it with Viper just beating away and slowing everybody and using his Viper Strike on the ever so problematic Lifestealer, I think they can actually take a team fight even with their ultimates up. IG's ultimates up, that is.
Yeah, Na'Vi have allowed those ultimates to cool down. They have not forced the issue. They actually have more fans watching inside the game, so huge shout out to all the IG supporters. Great to see you out in force. And for the Na'Vi fans, well, maybe you need to buy a ticket because there's not enough of you right now. IG, they've got the home field advantage in this game.
T3 for T2 though.
And IG march into the high ground. Now they're going to have the big advantage if Na'Vi TP back. Although 430 has decided to stop to farm some creeps. It's not quite a base trade. Na'Vi do take a tier 2, but they've lost their tier 3 to do it. Not a great trade for them.
Not good by any means. They did get a glyph, though, but they had to use one themselves.
Oh, Vendetta up, and they're going to go in on mid. They've caught out Havost. Not sure what he was doing there at the tier 2 by himself, but IG find an easy kill. It's just not his day. Havost is really struggling, and IG, they'll smoke up, they'll barrel down the top lane, I imagine, and if they can find a kill or two here, this could be the end of game 1. Na'Vi cannot afford to get picked off.
Kuroki does have a sheepstick, though.
That could be big if he's there. They need that lockdown, and I think they need a shackle as well. Can he be the savior? IG are lurking. They're going to pounce now. 4-step in. They blow Puppey up. Easy kill. Now a Viper strike on Joe. He could maybe pop inside a creep and wait this out, but he doesn't seem to care. Funnick marches forward. Shackle's going to fly, and the Hex on Chuan as well. They've used everything. It wasn't a great initiation. Now Funnick driven back. 430. Still has his Panda ult. Funnick just is not hurting anyone. His 10-second BKB is going to wear off soon. Dendy drops the coil. Nobody on IG takes damage from this. They're all still healthy. They want to keep on fighting. Now Havost in trouble. Joe looking for a kill. Dendy gets picked off. Overextended. Faith just used the global to secure that one. Now, oh no, Panda ult on the top of 3 Na'Vi heroes. They're getting overwhelmed. IG are defending their home turf here in game number 1. They're going to take a Rax, most likely off of this. They've already taken the melee. The range sure to follow. 4-step forward from Kuroki. Shackle to fly. He does catch Chuan. IG may have overstayed their welcome slightly, but no light strike away from Evo. Still chasing. Chuan does fall. Can Faith get away? That's the big question. Nope, light strike array wildly off the mark. Now Dendy continues to give chase. Faith still hoofing it out of there. Shackle shot, not going to latch. They continue to hoof it after him. Poor Faith. Finally corralled, cornered, and picked off. But Na'Vi have lost Rax, and they've in return, they've spent a few buybacks there as well. Excuse me, just one on Dendy.
Yeah, that was not a good trade for them. I think that they should have kind of expected that coming. With the T3 for T2 is never a trade that you want to do, and they were just able to smoke, and they were very prepared for that. They smoked all the way up to the top, looking for someone to push out the way. They saw Windrunner, but Windrunner not the best target, even able to escape through a global silence through use of the 4-staff. So they were kind of waiting for that, and then after they got a kill on mid, who was out of position, they were able to smoke in, and that was just a very nice tactical play from them. Havost in deep trouble again.
Oh, Jesus. Sorry I missed that one. YYF solo killing him. Just way too low, I guess, to just die without even the Scythe or the Prophet ult being used. Kuroki, he's now gone Helm of the Dominator. It looks like Na'Vi are looking to their Windrunner to be the carry this game, because Viper is just not doing enough at this stage. He's tanky, he's a nuisance.
He really needs Scepter. I mean, we saw him BKB, but he didn't really do anything during the BKB.
I think the BKB is fine, but when you get it that late, it really, sure, you survive longer, but Viper, he doesn't scale that well late game without items. I mean, early on, Nether Toxin's amazing, but in the end, it's flat bonus damage. And as heroes get tankier, you get less and less bonus damage in those engagements unless your teammates bring them low. And IG, they're too tanky at this point, so they don't drop low, so you don't get the full Nether Toxin bonus damage, and then you're BKB'd, but you're not killing anyone, and IG are taking advantage of that.
YYF has his has his Scythe of Vice completed, and he also bought a gem. Let's see who is the wielder. I think it should be the Panda.
Nope. Did he really?
I mean, I'm pretty sure I saw him buy a gem.
Oh,
it's on the ground.
Back in the Radiant base. Oh, not choosing to use it for the time being. Puppey's picked up a gem of his own. I guess could help them to hunt that Prophet if they can catch him out, as well as for the general map control. Na'Vi grouping up in the bottom lane. Kuroki gets caught by a blink clap. Not the easiest one to go on. They even shackle 430. Now Joe's in on a bit of an island, but he'll just simply back off. He pops the rage. He walks away. And 430 might look for another blink ult initiation soon. Dendy orbs forward, and 430 dodges it. He's thinking about going in. I'm surprised to see Na'Vi making a stand outside of their base, but they've always been a confident and aggressive bunch. Puppey's going to wrap around. Maybe not. He's thinking about it. Dendy there with him as well. Has picked up a Ghost Scepter. Havost the Blink Dagger. I think they've had these for a bit, but just minimal item progression for Na'Vi in general. They're a bit lacking on damage, whereas IG have plenty with the Lifestealer, and we might see a go now. Na'Vi perched on the sidelines, but IG, they've got that really strong team fight. Can Na'Vi really make something happen? 430 hiding in the trees. Na'Vi,
look at their positioning. It's just incredible right now.
Everybody's grouped or spread out, I should say, whereas IG would like them to be clumped up. Havost Visible on the low ground. Do they really want to go on Alina? Blink in. Clap on 2. Havos picked off. He'll drop here for sure. The Panda beats him down. But Joe, shackled to a tree, taking some good damage. Now the Global flies forth. Funnick BKB's through it. Kuroki driven back. This Lifestealer is just a bit too strong. And Na'Vi will have to run. They don't lose too much just yet. 2 on the sidelines. Chuan does manage to pick off that Dendi puck on the way out. Now the Viper thrown up in the air. The Axe Pen lasting forever, a day, and then some Aeons as well. Now the Windrunner. She's been thrown up. Na'Vi tap out in game 1. IG. Masterful display from them. They outlast them. Faith, just sensational silencer play, and then a good, well-rounded effort from the rest of the boys.
Ferrari had quite a bit rough start. I mean, they had that 4-man gank in middle where they barely killed him before these guys with his ultimate off, and then on bottom with a nice Denzi initiate, followed by the Impale. But after that, he had some incredible primal splits and some sick Panda micro. You have to thank Faith for that, though. Faith had a lot of global silences, set up plenty of kills for them, and Lifestealer was just so incredibly tanky. We saw the Viper pick up, and I suspect it was because of Viper Strike going through Rage, but it didn't really do that much.
I felt like a lot of this wasn't due to that, though. I mean, as much as the Viper didn't have a big impact, he did win his lane. I think the big problem was the way that tri-lane went. Yeah. Puppy thrown up on the cliff, a Puppy forced to take Spike Carapace at level 1, Havos getting caught out of position repeatedly. They just made that recent transition, at least for this game, to putting Havos on the support role. I felt like the execution was the bigger problem. But yeah, the Viper pick definitely didn't do a whole lot there. Yeah,
I mean, their lineup just didn't have that much room for air. Dendi didn't actually do too well mid either. I think that Panda has, I mean, he should do decently with a CS, but
couldn't in the end.
Yeah, I mean, it was just rough on all ends for Na'Vi.
Well,
anyways,
once again, guys, we do apologize for the stream going down. Should not happen again. But with that out of the way, it's IG leading the set 1-0. There's one more game coming up. Blitz, Purge, your thoughts?
Wow, so they end up winning the game. The Viper wasn't really able to impact as much as we thought it would. He got a ton of farm in the early game. In the first major team fight he went to, he got jumped on by the Panda with the clap ulti, and he got bursted down. It was just too much damage. And I felt like that really prevented Funnick from snowballing. I mean, he won his lane very easily, but when you take that much focus fire and all you have is the mech, it's generally not enough. You have to play a little safer, and you can't take the brunt of the alpha nukes.
Yeah, also, it just seemed like the Viper didn't do a whole lot for them. Like, you would Viper Strike, and then where was the damage supposed to come in from? The tri-lane just kind of didn't do as well as I think they thought they would. I mean, a Nyx, Lina, and a Windrunner is actually quite decent, but they just weren't able to get anything going. And then once the Lifestealer kind of gets out of control, he can just rage through everything and pick off your Lina, pick off your easy-to-kill supports. I mean, Nyx's Spike Carapace doesn't do too much. And then Na'Vi just looked like there was always something, right? They lost Havost early on, and then after that, the most disastrous possible thing happened when Puppy got put onto a cliff.
Yeah, he was up there for so long, too. Yeah. But you can't really afford a TP scroll at that point as a support hero, and you're a tri-lane support. I mean, sure, somebody else could have bought that for him, but it's just really unfortunate for him they got thrown up there, so twice.
Yeah, if things like that hadn't happened, I think the game actually overall looked okay. Just the Panda and the Silencer ult just caused way too much havoc and chaos. But that was game 1, guys. Let's see if Na'Vi can take it back and hopefully put up a better fight. And that was actually quite decent, but I'd like to see them at least make this a 1-1.
Yeah, I like their draft a lot. It just didn't pull through, and they needed to snowball on a couple of heroes a little harder. So didn't quite win the fights, and yeah, they end up going down for their first game. So tough road for Na'Vi. I'm sure it's been a little disappointing to see how they've been performing so far, but we'll be back in just a bit, guys. They still have another shot of taking a game off IG. Game 2 coming up in just a bit.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's Invictus Gaming versus Na'Vi for the Alienware Cup, brought to you by Beyond the Summit. Myself here, LD, as well as Merlini, joined us all the way from Las Vegas to cast some fantastic Dota. Of course, sponsored by MasterCard, Alienware. Shout out to DPM Licious of DPM Interactive, our organizer, for making this fantastic event possible. It's all a run-up to the International 3, which begins this August. Merlini in Game 1. We saw some great play from IG, particularly Faith on that silencer.
Right, and Ferrari. I mean, these are the top-tier teams. TI1 winner, TI2 winner, and they're all squaring off today. And it's an incredible game.
They've been, both of them, struggling the past few days, but, I mean, they're still top teams. I saw some people questioning the hexagons. You can't, until these teams show up to TI3 and perform poorly, you cannot say that they're anything but 8s, 9s, and 10s for the most part. They are defending champions. They are top teams. We'll hop inside the draft now and see what's going to happen in game number 2. So with that being said, it's a Batrider Lifestealer for IG.
Ooh, first Batrider I've seen.
Oh, this is a lot to give away. And
they got Visage for it. Is that worth it?
I like Visage, but
not that much.
Some teams like him that much. They get Weaver, though. They do get a hero that's fantastic against Lifestealer. You mentioned
and Batrider, too.
And the Batrider, hard to kill, lanes well against him, can at least trade evenly, if not maybe even come out on top in that lane with an early magic stick. And it opens up Navi's options here.
But Invictus Gaming, again, banning out the Wisp. That is so important versus Na'Vi. Only win that Na'Vi has picked up in this tournament has been with Wisp on their side. And that was actually kind of a stomp by Na'Vi. But aside from that, they've been coming up with nothing.
Yeah, it's been a little bit short for them. Every game that they've lost, there's still been those moments. Against RNG Sports, both games, it felt like the games were going to turn around. It's not that there still seems to be that spark with Na'Vi, where they get on a roll, they start to make things happen, but I think they just need to start a game the right way. Get out to an early lead, don't overextend or make silly mistakes, and just play solid, stable Dota. You can't throw a Hail Mary and win that way every single game, and it feels like right now that's kind of what they're relying on.
Right, last game they actually switched the roles a little bit. So Havos, instead of being the safe lane farmer, he was the aggressive support Lina, and Kuro usually being the supporter. He was on the
emphasis on
runner.
aggressive.
Right, so he was caught out of position. Havos was caught out of position a couple times, and actually, I mean, Kuroki played a pretty solid game, but there wasn't any like, oh my god, ridiculous shackle shots, but that was mainly just because they got initiated on most of the time. So I think that if they just switch back to their traditional roles, give Havos a hero that is allowed to play super aggressively, whether that be Alchemist or usually Lifestealer, then I think that they can get off to a much better start. But that triple lane going poorly for them just set them up for a very bad early to mid game.
Of course, guys, if you haven't already heard, there is a Dota TV ticket available for this tournament. It's $7.99. You get to watch all of these teams, these fantastic games, with access to first-person replays and our commentary. A word of caution is the commentary may not be perfect. Apparently, it's quite choppy. Routing has been an issue to the Chinese servers. But with that being said, just for the first-person perspectives alone, and if you want to support the tournament, I think it's well worth considering the purchase. Big shout out to DPM for making that ticket possible, and for Valve, and well, for Na'Vi. Now their third pick of the draft. What are they going to go for? They have a pretty wide open start to this thing. They've got the Weaver. He can be a part of a tri-lane versus the Lifestealer. He can be a solo. They'll go Naga here, and now they get a hero that can lock down and be really kind of pester the Lifestealer in the team fight.
Indeed, Lifestealer is not going to have an easy time. First off, Weaver is just very, very good versus Lifestealer, just being able to scooch you away from open wounds, and Swarm just kind of crushing him during Rage, as well as a Naga Siren with the Sleep. And they can also choose to go to other route, which is if he rages, you just Song the Siren, and Lifestealer is the only one awake, and you just focus him down with the net and get as much damage on him as possible, and sometimes even killing him before that Rage is up. But Invictus Gaming, they've definitely done their research. Firstly, they banned Wisp. Secondly, they took Rubik last game, they took Rubik this game, and I think denying Kuroki, Rubik, as well as denying Puppy, Chen, and Enchanters, although that hasn't happened this game, and putting Havos on something that he's a little bit more unfamiliar with, whether it be Spectre, whether it be Lina. These are all working in their favor in terms of the drafting phase.
Yeah, Na'Vi get a hero that you wanted to see from them last game, the Shadow Demon. They get a fantastic way to control the Lifestealer and try and bait or wait out his rage, I should say, between Disruption and Purge. He doesn't really counter Lifestealer per se, but he helps your team to deal with him. Wait out the rage, then look to turn the fight around. Na'Vi have a team of 3 heroes that really can slow down the Lifestealer, and I mean, even Visage with Familiars, just the amount of physical damage they do, Lifestealer is fairly low base armor. I feel like all 4 of their heroes in some way help control the Lifestealer and limit what he can get done in these fights.
So these lanes are already starting to develop pretty clearly. We see Visage, Naga Siren, Shadow Demon, most likely the triple lane for Na'Vi. I think it'll probably go defensive triple lane though. And on the side of IG, we have Lifestealer, Rubik, Jakiro as the triple lane, and Bat Rider solo. Probably paired versus the Weaver if they can, if Na'Vi can manage it. That's definitely favor of Weaver, I think.
Yeah, Na'Vi are on the Radiant side, so if they want to go aggressive tri-lane, it would be the better side to do it on. You can pull that camp that's near the lane. You can also contest the pull. They do have good lockdown, and if they catch Rubik or Jakiro, they could probably kill them and get a first blood, but it all comes down to IG's positioning. Killing Lifestealer is a much taller order. We'll see what they go for. A lot of teams have been running Naga Siren solo mid. I'm curious if that's an option. IG...
Bringing Sexy back.
Yeah, they're bringing... That's a great way to put it. They go for the Morphling. He was the absolute terror of the International 2. There were photoshops and memes made of Morphling the size of Godzilla descending upon Seattle, and he's not quite as strong nowadays, but he's still mostly the same hero. Let's see what IG can make happen.
I mean, I think this is a fantastic pick. Firstly, they don't have any stuns and any silence. I mean, they have the Gargoyle stun, but that's minimal. And they have no way of really catching a Morphling. He's just pretty much free to go to town and just replicate wherever he will. And also, this takes a lot of focus off the Lifestealer. They already have three very strong heroes versus Lifestealer with Weaver, Naga Siren, Shadow Demon, as we discussed before. And if Morphling can try and take a little bit of that heat away from Lifestealer, or just like be a backup carry, I think this works very well for Invictus Gaming.
Shadow Demon will have to be their main weapon against the Morphling. Obviously, Soul Catcher helps you chew through his high armor, helps you to burst him as quickly as possible when he's strength morphing before he gets too healthy, and you've got Purge to kind of kite him, slow him down in the fights, and make illusions that are stronger because he's a very stats-heavy hero with Disruption. It's not enough. Like you said, they don't have full stuns. This last pick will be crucial. I don't think they have Dendy's hero yet. What is in the pool? They banned 3 Dendy heroes, Windrunner, Puck, Storm. We did see a Kuroki Windrunner, but it's also something Dendy likes to play. I guess the silence would be nice against Morphling early to mid game.
It's good versus Lifestealer too.
Yeah.
I think it fares decently versus Bat Rider.
It really limits their late game. If they go that route, IG have Lifestealer, Bat Rider, Morphling. You are not beating that late game unless you're very far ahead with Weaver Naga.
The thing about it is Na'Vi might not get to late game though, even though they had a Spectre with the Radiance the other day, and even though they had a decently farmed Viper, they don't actually make it past 35 to 40 minutes because they are a very aggressive team. High risk, high reward. One of the few teams venturing forth and doing an aggressive triple lane. It didn't pay off last game, but still, we know that they just love to play aggressively. Havost in particular.
Is it going to be a Havost Lina? That's the big question. Kuroki's on the Naga. It looks like they're keeping Havost on support duty, at least for this game. Funnick handling the Weaver. That's your 3 position. Maybe even your 2.
Who's Dendy going to play? Lina?
Dendy
wow,
Visage? There is no way. There must be some hero swaps. Is it a solo mid-Visage? Is there any chance?
I think it might be solo mid Naga Siren.
And they're going to swap heroes, you think?
I think so. That's what I was doing. I've never seen Dendy play Visage, ever.
I have no idea how good his micro is. I'm sure it's decent. He's Dendy.
Regarding this last pick, though, Lina is pretty good if is a shotgun Morphling. If he tries to EB, you can just own him with magic damage.
Especially if you get a Soul Catcher off.
Right.
My goodness.
But usually Ghost Scepter's a very good pickup versus Naga Siren. Instantly dispelling that ensnare is just incredible.
Yeah, and it's something that a lot of these heroes can farm. Rubik, Jakiro are decent farmers as far as supports go. We're inside the game. It's game 2 and our final match of the group stages. IG versus Na'Vi. IG leading the set 1-0, looking for another win here today. Na'Vi, they've traveled a long way to get to China, but they've met the Great Wall of China so far. 430, handling the Lifestealer. Is he going mid? He normally does. YYF, the Bat Rider, probably heading towards the off lane. A lot of pool regen for 430. Faith will be taking up the role of the Jakiro. He was sensational on that silencer. Chuan refusing to use his real name. He'll be playing to 6th until IG wins another championship. Joe, last but not least, he'll be playing the Morphling, and he'll be farming in a defensive tri-lane.
And on the side of Na'Vi, we have a couple heroes already being pulled. Kuroki on the Naga Siren, starting out with a Poor Man's Shield, Branch, and 2 sets of pulled regen from Puppy. We see Dendy on the solo mid Lina. Again, pulled 2 sets of regen again by Puppy. Puppy's just very poor at this point. He did have wards bought by him, but Puppey is on the Visage. Havos again on a support role on the Shadow Demon, and Funnick looks like he will be the solo safe lane Weaver.
So we'll break down these matchups a little more. Safe lane Weaver against the Bat Rider. Interestingly for Funnick, no magic stick to start. I mean, normally you see that right away. I guess Weaver's not going to die anyway, but obviously getting the charges is nice. Pretty even matchup. Maybe a slight edge to the Weaver because he's in the safe lane. Mid lane, Lifestealer versus Lina. Just a bizarre matchup, to say the least. And then our tri-lane. We can break the tri-lane down last, but Merlini first, how do you feel about these two 1v1s?
So I think bottom lane is a watch. I've seen this matchup quite a few times before. Unless there is a drastic mess up or mistake by either of these heroes, I don't think we'll see too much in the way there. I think that Funnick will have a better time CSing simply because he's in a safe lane, and YYF always has to worry about the threat of being just chased down from 2 screens away. But again, not too much in the way of that lane. In the mid lane, this is a very unusual matchup. First off,